What a joy to see all of your beautiful smiling faces. I am Cindy, and I welcome you today to the St. Croix Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. SCUF is a diverse, inclusive, and open-minded spiritual community where everyone is welcome. We are a free-thinking people of many beliefs who value wisdom, compassion, and justice. We are an inclusive and safe gathering place that welcomes seekers of all faiths or of no religious faith. We are guided by the Unitarian Universalist values and the fellowship's purpose, which can be found on the back of your order of service this morning. As a community of volunteers, we are committed to growth, justice, and compassion, not only to each other, but to the communities where we live and to the world at large. Today is our flower ceremony, and we have this lovely bouquet made up of many gardens. And if you have brought a flower and you're still holding it in your hot little hands, you can bring it up here and add it to our bouquet. Beautiful. See, we wouldn't want to miss out on those. Those are lovely. Thank you. I would like to start out by sharing some opening words by the Reverend Dr. Hope Johnson, entitled One Love. We are one, a diverse group of proudly kindred spirits, here not by coincidence, but because we chose to journey together. We are active and proactive. We care deeply. We live our love as best we can. We are one, working, eating, laughing, playing, singing, storytelling, sharing and rejoicing, getting to know each other, taking risks, opening up, questioning, seeking, searching, trying to understand, struggling, making mistakes, paying attention, asking questions, listening, living our answers, learning to love our neighbors, learning to love ourselves, apologizing and forgiving with humility, being forgiven through grace, creating the beloved community together. We are one. I would like to invite Maya to come forward to light the chalice.
Good morning, friends. My name is the Reverend Terry Bernor. I use she and her pronouns, and it is always, always a joy to be with you all on the first Sunday of every month. For our chalice lighting words, I'm going to start by saying a few things, and then I will cue you to add on to our chalice lighting words with the words that are in your order of service. Maya, you can light the flame. Notice now this flame, seemingly so singular, dancing all alone, yet pull back. Look with more attentive eyes, and slowly the chalice cup comes into view, and the air that while unseen keeps the flame alive. All of it is a reminder that being lovingly surrounded and beautifully bound is what sets us free and allows us to flourish. May this be the gift of this precious hour. May we too pull back and see ourselves anew, how tenderly tethered we are, and how wonderfully that sets us free. Our opening song is number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. Will you please rise in body or in spirit? Friends, I want to add a little bit of a lengthier sorrow. This comes on behalf of the nearly 1,000 people held captive by ICE who are currently on a hunger or labor strike in at least 7 facilities around the country in protest of cruelty and retaliation, including assault, unsafe food and water, illegal detention, medical neglect and abuse, forced labor, and more. We have been asked by New Jersey organizers to share a letter from hunger striking detainees at Delaney Hall. This is not only about the horrific conditions. Those detained at Delaney are demanding their freedom. And so I'm going to read a part of their letter, and then I'll put the whole letter on our altar. We, the detainees at the Delaney Hall Detention Facility, wish to express our objection to the violation of our rights as immigrant human beings. We, the detainees, are demanding our progressive release based on the fact that our arrests were illegal. Immigrants to this country have the right to await our pending immigration proceedings outside of prison. Therefore, we demand to be released on bond or parole so that we may complete our proceedings. Furthermore, we call for greater efficiency in our judicial processes, as well as greater effectiveness and urgency for those who request and sign their voluntary release. We believe it is unjust to keep people who wish to leave of their own free will in custody for up to 3 months. In addition to the unlawful and forced detention of most of us who find ourselves locked up here, there is the inhumane treatment that all detainees in this facility endure on a daily basis. The company in charge, GEO, fails to meet the basic conditions necessary to protect our health and our lives. To their administrative incompetence, we must add, and they have a whole list of injustices and irregularities perpetrated by ICE and GEO. They end their letter with this: we appreciate the support of everyone who is protesting outside the facility. We want you to know that you give us the strength and determination to keep going. Please don't give up. We ask all relevant authorities for an urgent response and look forward to hearing from them. With the utmost respect, the detainees at the Delaney Hall facility. God bless you. Do we have any other joys or sorrows? And I know that was a big sorrow. And we can also hold our joys too, even amongst that. They have that joy of knowing that so many of us have read this letter and are with them. That is powerful, and that is love, friends. Then let me add one more stone for all of our sorrows, and one more stone for all of our joys. We are with each other. Let us now pause for a moment of silent reflection, meditation, and centering.
I have a reading to share by David White called Working Together. We shape ourselves to fit this world, and by the world are shaped again. The visible and the invisible, working together in common cause to produce the miraculous. I'm thinking of the way the intangible air passed at speed round a shaped wing easily holds our weight. So may we, in this life, trust to those elements we have yet to see or imagine, and look for the true shape of our own self by forming it well to the great intangibles all around us.
We're going to begin with a true story about the lives of Norbert Čapek and his wife, Maya Čapek. This version of their biography, which I've adapted just a little bit, was originally crafted by Teresa Schwartz and David Schwartz. And they are relevant for today because they are what brought us our flower ceremony. So this is their story, and this is our story as Unitarian Universalists. Norbert's mother was a devout Catholic, his father agnostic. He became an acolyte at age 10 in 1890 at St. Martin's Catholic Church. In the years that followed, he became disillusioned. His priest was a cynic. At 18, apprenticed to his uncle, a successful tailor in Vienna, Norbert discovered the Baptists and became a minister. He founded almost a dozen churches from Ukraine to Budapest. Yet slowly, his faith became more and more liberal. He left Bohemia under government threat and accepted a call to serve a Baptist church in New York City until one day in 1919. That day he wrote in his diary, "I cannot be a Baptist anymore, even in compromise. The fire of new desires, new worlds is burning inside me." In 1921, Norbert and his wife Maya joined a Unitarian church in New Jersey. World War I ended. Their home country now independent, he and Maya returned home to Czechoslovakia. They founded a Unitarian church called the Prague Liberal Religious Fellowship. In just 20 years, it had 3,200 members, the largest Unitarian church anywhere. The traditional Christian communion service of bread and wine wouldn't meet the needs of this congregation because it, like ours, had people who believed different things. Čapek returned to the beauty of the countryside, to the beauty of flowers. In 1923, so now 103 years ago, he developed the flower ceremony. He asked his congregants to bring a flower to church from their gardens, the field, or the roadside. I supplemented some of our flowers from Trader Joe's. He invited each person to place their flower in a vase. There, right before them, just like it is before us, was the church community, no less unique for being united, bold, willing to take risks, willing to build a new way, first by building a church, and then by believing that church could build up the world. And for this, the Gestapo arrested Čapek in 1942. The Nazis accused him of listening to foreign broadcasts and sent him to the Dachau concentration camp. Even in starvation and torture, he held a flower ceremony with his fellow prisoners, finding whatever flowers they could among the weeds of the camp, or even bringing stones or twigs for a blessing. They testified to a beauty larger than themselves, and a love that would outlive them. Last week, I was in Arizona and Texas. I was gone for 6-7 days. I started out in Arizona for a UU the Vote activity. This was part of my Moose Jaw work, the Minnesota Unitarian Universalist Social Justice Alliance, our state action network. I was there with a bunch of Arizonians and a bunch of other state action networks, and we were engaging in some work around UU the Vote. And we started out being grounded in place. So we were gathered at a community center called Puente. This is an organization that the UUA partnered with way back in 2010 and 2012 when we held our very first and only Justice GA. Justice GA in Phoenix, Arizona. Was anyone at Justice GA here by any chance? No? Okay. This was my very first General Assembly that I ever attended. And this GA was one where so much of the standard business as usual was swept to the side or abbreviated or condensed or postponed. And we went to Phoenix. We gathered there in relationship with Puente and other organizations because this was the time when Sheriff Arpaio had his tent cities. These were horrendous conditions, tent cities where they were out in the heat with just literally tents to give them shelter. Horrific conditions with a sheriff who was bound and determined to not acknowledge that these were human beings that he was placing in these conditions. In the 2 years before that, the state of Arizona was the first state to pass what was known as SB 1070. This was legislation, among other things, that authorized every law enforcement officer in the state to be an ICE agent. 14 states quickly passed copycat laws following that. This is back in 2010, y'all. 2010. We gathered for Justice GA. Like I said, this was my very first GA. I'd been a UU for a while, but didn't know what General Assembly was all about. And I went down with some friends not even a seminarian yet. And I went down and we were all wearing our yellow, at that time, Standing on the Side of Love t-shirts, which is just identifies UUs, those yellow love shirts. We are the love people. And it was, 105 degrees was the temperature. It was miserable. This Minnesotan was really, really dying in that heat. And we gathered in the evening time, and we took buses, 2,000 of us, took buses to Tent City. And we gathered with organizing partners, and we held candles and battery-operated lights, and we sang so loud that those detained in Tent City could hear us and hear our love. That was, do the math for me, how many years ago? 2010. Okay, thank you, 16 years ago. I went from Arizona last week to Texas, where I was part of a multi-faith delegation through the work that I do with March, which is Multi-Faith Anti-Racism Change and Healing. We're the ones that put on that big convening back in January where we asked people of faith and clergy people from all over the country to come to Minneapolis to bear witness to Operation Metro Surge. And we know that our neighbors are still gone. And so we sent 2 delegations, one the week before, and then the delegation that I went on. There were 4 of us, myself and 3 of my Christian colleagues. And we went to Texas so that we could understand the fullness of the detention story as it is today, the detention pipeline as it is today. Texas is the place where about 1/3 of our immigrant neighbors in this area are sent. A big chunk go to Louisiana as well. We were in Austin and San Antonio meeting with so many community organizers and faith communities. But the part that I want to lift up that ties in with this Unitarian church in Prague is we went to a church, I will call her Pastor D. We went to Pastor D's church. She is mixed race. She's got, on her mother's side, from Ecuador, and she is a Mennonite pastor. And they formed an immigrant-led, immigrant-centered church that is housed inside of a Lutheran church that has a whole nother name and a whole nother thing, and they just create space for this immigrant church to worship together, to play basketball together. There's a basketball court inside the building, and to offer housing and support and community. It's Spanish speaking. And that evening, after full days, every day for Pastor D is full days, she sat with our delegation for 2 hours to tell us about her community and the beauty and the flowers that they bring even amongst the pain. She's had 6 congregants be deported. Countless have been detained. And in that evening, a woman I'll call S came and made us the most delicious meal you can imagine. We broke bread together, and she told us the story through Pastor D, who interpreted it for us. She told the story about how she and her 13-year-old son were detained by ICE and held at the Dilley Family and Children Detention Center for 3 weeks. Her 13-year-old son had his birthday in detention. Her 17-year-old daughter, whose car they were driving, who was supposed to have been picked up, that was who they were targeting, was out and didn't know where her mom and her brother were. And they finally got word out and were released in 3 weeks. And we got to hear her story and see how deeply her faith in God and her belief in the ultimate goodness of this world is sustaining her through these conditions. The next morning, we accompanied her and another congregant to the administrative center where they had an appointment. These are common practices there that you have to go on occasion and check in at an administrative site. About 10% of the people who go to these check-in sites ended up being arrested and detained by ICE. So we met her and her children and her lawyer there and waited, talked to the coffee comrades who are there 2 days a week with ice water and snacks for those that are waiting outside. And we waited until S came out. And then we stood in a circle and we prayed together. Sometimes that's all we can do. And she was so grateful that we were there. She was so grateful that people from Minnesota had traveled all the way to Texas and were listening to her story, the particularities of what she and her family were going through. She was so grateful. And all she could do was just share blessings back to us who were trying to pray with her. When she left, we sat and talked to her lawyer for quite a while, who spoke English, to learn more about her case and learn more about her story. This is the story of ministry, of love, of how we flourish together when we are with one another. Listening, connecting, not shying away from both the bigness of beauty and the sharpness of the suffering that is also in the world. She was so glad that we were there with our flowers, our sticks, our stones, our presents. With the Nazi occupation of Czechoslovakia, Maya Čapek came to the United States to raise funds for relief work for her home country. Unable to return, she began serving the Unitarian Church in New Bedford, Massachusetts in 1940 and brought them the flower ceremony. 1940, we have been celebrating the flower ceremony in our Unitarian Universalist churches here in the United States since 1940, thanks to Maya bringing her husband's ceremony here. She didn't know that her husband had been killed in October 1942 for high treason. Their spirit, their courage, their commitment live on today. Those qualities have passed now to us to make them real. What we are doing here today is not a historical reenactment of something over and done, but it's an affirmation of our continuity with the generations of struggle for ever-widening liberty. This flower ceremony, lovely though it is, isn't a diversion from ugly reality, but a gentle fierceness which proclaims in the midst of sinister days, there is always the light of beauty. I'm looking at these flowers that are mostly from here in the upper Midwest, along with some lovely florist varieties that come from who knows where else. And I'm also thinking about how green Texas was, at least in Austin and San Antonio where I was. And even in the desert of Arizona, there were flowers blooming on the cactus. We are here not to recall something that happened, but to remember something that is happening, that we are making happen. To remember, to put it back together again, and in that remembering, we are putting ourselves back together again as well, each as a part of the body of this community, one of many, one. All of us here connected to one another, all of us here connected to our beloveds in Delaney and all of the other detention centers, all of us here connected to my new friend, Pastor D, and her congregant S and their children. We are all one together in the struggle and in the power. Today we celebrate this ritual of solemnity and joy. We lift up the resistance and the joy of our immigrant neighbors, of trans and queer folks for Pride Month, of bravery and hope in conditions designed to provoke compliance and hopelessness. We lift up all the ways we keep each other safe and happy and connected, in all the ways that we see the fullness of each other's humanity. We lift up courageous love. As the Čapeks asked their people to bring a flower and celebrate beauty and life, so do we, the modern-day Unitarian Universalists. You all brought flowers and adorned our altar with their beauty. Gaze on them and know that all is not lost. All is not destroyed. There is beauty and love and hope and courage and resilience and resistance everywhere. these flowers, this abundance, are a visceral reminder of the great intangibles that are with us every moment of every day. And so I'm going to invite you to lift up some of the great intangibles which exist and are imagined and are created so that everyone can flourish in this very real world before us. I hope you'll holler them out, and I will repeat them for all of us to hear. What are those great intangibles that help you flourish? I'll get you started in case that's too vague. For me, one of them is just compassion, community, kindness, music, patience, the seasons, courage, love, art. I missed one else over here. Pollination. The birds in migration and those that stay. The lakes and rivers. Harmony. Horses. I'm going to add one big intangible, and that is faith. We'll close out this time together with these words by the Peace Poets. We will protect each other. We will eat everything we need. The good lands, the wild water, the whole sky is always on our side. Blessed be, and amen. So each time that we gather, we extend a moment of generosity. The gifts you make through your annual pledge or to this weekly offering are a tangible, there's another tangible for us, are a tangible commitment to the mission, health, and values of this fellowship. In addition, half of the dollars collected on Sunday are shared with a community recipient. For the month of June, the Social Action Team has selected Our Justice Minnesota, an abortion fund based in the Twin Cities metro that provides support and care to folks traveling to Minnesota for abortions from across the Midwest and beyond. SCOOF member Dolores Omens is on this organization's finance team. You can read more about Our Justice Minnesota on the back of your order of service. The baskets, can we get some basket hander-outers? The baskets will now be passed, and we gratefully accept these and all contributions.
for your generosity. And Marissa, thank you for the gift of the music that you bring to us. We appreciate it so very much. I would like to call on Maya. We will extinguish the chalice. And you can join along with me. The words are printed in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now we come to the time of announcements. Does anyone have an announcement that they would like to share?
Oh, hello. Our next Main Street Voices event is going to be on August 8th at the Chateau St. Croix. We're bringing in legendary crooner Vic Villari and his swing orchestra. And yes, it's going to be so much fun. And because we're not meeting in August, I want to get some flyers in your hands now so that you can post them. We probably ask that you wait until after the first of the month because a lot of places like grocery stores and things like that, they take down posters at the end of the month. So I've got some here for you. Again, it's August 8th at the Chateau, and it's really going to be a fun night. So in this world of, bad news and all the stuff that goes with it, this is going to be a lot of fun. You don't have to dance. You can sit and listen to this nostalgic music, or, you could do a little dance. That's right. So please see me.
And just a reminder, we do meet in August, but we don't meet in July. Just a little. Just a little. Barbara.
Hi, Song Circle today, 2 o'clock, Philadelphia Community Farm, down Osceola. You don't need to know anything about singing. We teach it all like I just did, and we gather up little money and help support Philadelphia Farm's beautiful work that they do. 2 o'clock, Philly Farm, Osceola.
Terry.
I just wanted to put a plug in for my daughter's CSA. I have flyers here. You can come check it out if you're interested. She's just started her main season share last week, but she can make adjustments to the cost if you're interested. There's pickup at our farm, which is on 260th off of Highway 95. Well, yeah, there's a way. There's a way. Shepherd Moon Farm.
Social Action meets this week on Zoom. Don't forget, guys. I'm Ann Turner, and there's a protest rally, flag rally on the bridge today at 2, competing with the Song Circle. So anyway, there's also a protest on the bridge, and there's drumming at 1. Yeah, 1 o'clock for drumming. So, we're so lucky to have all this stuff going on. But anyway, and the protest on the bridge is all around Flag Day, and of course, it is He Who Should Not Be Named's birthday, so we're trying to draw some attention elsewhere.
Hi, I'm Liesel. I hope Marissa doesn't get mad at me about this, but this building, the Historic Auditorium, could use a few more volunteers. Many of you already help us with concerts and things, but we would like a little list, a little pool of you that we can go to for different concerts and events in town. So if you are interested, please let Marissa or me know. We'll get your name on there. Thank you.
Anyone else?
All right, we're going to sing now, y'all. We're going to use the Teal hymnal or the Teal songbook. It looks like there's one more sitting down there. We don't have as many of these, so if you don't have one nearby, please share. It's number 1017, Building a New Way. Rise in body or spirit.